You live in a country where people grind themselves down like gears in a machine. They wake before sunrise, sit in traffic that drains their patience, work inside buildings that drain their energy, and return home to collapse into a silence no one else sees. And still, their money never seems to stretch far enough. But somewhere else in the same nation, on the same streets, with the same hours in a day, someone wakes without urgency, works without panic, and builds wealth without noise. 2 lives, 1 system, and the difference isn't luck. It's the game they're playing. So let's not waste time. Here is the reality. In America, there are only 2 types of people. Those who rely on income that dies the moment they stop moving, and those who construct income that continues breathing even when they rest. The first group survives. The second group builds. And once you understand the mechanics behind that difference, you stop chasing money the old way and start designing it the way wealthy Americans quietly do. Welcome to Money Animate. Subscribe if you want clarity instead of cliches, structure instead of struggle, and a way of thinking that won't disappear with the next market trend. What you learn here will not make you rich overnight, but it will make you unshakable over time. So let's get to the truth quickly. America rewards one thing above all else: scalable value. Not effort, not exhaustion, not loyalty to a job. Scalable value. The economy doesn't ask you how tired you are. It asks whether what you create can exist without you. And when you understand that, your entire view of work changes. Suddenly, the idea of trading hours for survival feels primitive. Ask yourself a simple but brutal question. If your income stopped tonight, no paycheck, no direct deposit, no small business revenue, how long before your life fractures? A week? A month? A year if you're disciplined? Most Americans avoid answering because the truth is uncomfortable. But your answer reveals whether your life is built on stability or on improvisation. The wealthiest people in America aren't defined by high salaries. They are defined by the percentage of their income that doesn't require their daily presence. That's the real gap in this country. Not education, not opportunity, not background. The real gap is how many hours of the week your money continues working when you stop. And passive income is simply the strategy of multiplying those hours. So let's talk about how ordinary Americans, people with no special connections and no special advantages, actually create streams of income that don't depend on constant labor. Start with something simple: unused capacity. If you live in a major US city, an empty driveway can earn more than a part-time job during peak seasons. A family in Los Angeles makes around $800 a month renting a single parking space during concert and sports events. In Chicago, a spare basement storage room listed online earns one couple about $250 each month for doing absolutely nothing. A woman in Austin built a small backyard studio with prefabricated panels for under $8,000. She now rents it on Airbnb for an average of $115 per night. It paid for itself in under 9 months and has become one of her most consistent income streams. None of these examples require brilliance. They require the ability to look at what you already own and ask whether it's asleep or productive. Now consider safe yield assets, the quiet backbone of American stability. I'm not giving numbers because interest rates shift every quarter, and what looks attractive in one year may look dull the next. But treasury bills, high-yield savings accounts, certificates of deposit, and money market funds remain essential tools because they do one thing very well: protect your liquidity while generating predictable returns. Your goal isn't to chase the highest yield. Your goal is to build a buffer that allows you to make calm decisions instead of desperate ones. A man in Ohio who drives trucks for a living deposits a small portion of each paycheck into a rotating ladder of treasury bills. He doesn't brag about it. He doesn't post about it. But over 5 years, this structure has covered 2 unexpected medical bills, bought him 6 months of breathing room during an employment gap, and allowed him to invest in better opportunities without fear. Stability earns you time, and time multiplies everything else. Then there are income-producing equities, dividend stocks and rights. This is where the American system shows its unique strength. When you own shares in companies that distribute profits, you participate in their success whether you show up or not. A retired schoolteacher in Oregon receives roughly $12,000 a year in dividends from utility companies and consumer staple giants. She never tried to time the market. She simply bought reliable businesses year after year and held them. Her portfolio isn't glamorous, but it pays her more than many part-time jobs. Rights operate similarly. One investor I met owns shares in a healthcare right that has paid dividends consistently through market cycles. He calls it the paycheck I don't have to work for, and he means it literally. But the real revolution of the last decade, and especially of the coming one, is digital assets. This category breaks the rules of traditional labor because digital products scale infinitely. Once created, they cost nothing to reproduce, nothing to store, and nothing to ship. A simple wedding budget spreadsheet on Etsy can earn $500 a month. A woman in Florida created a minimalist digital planner and made over $42,000 in a single year. A photographer in Seattle sells Lightroom presets that generate $2,000 to $3,000 a month despite the fact that she rarely promotes them anymore. These assets don't require charisma. They require clarity. What problem can you solve once that people need solved repeatedly? Content systems are another underestimated engine. YouTube, podcasts, online tutorials. These aren't platforms for fame. They are platforms for leverage. A man in North Carolina recorded a single 20-minute video explaining how to optimize smartphone battery life. 3 years later, it still brings in advertising revenue every month. A young mother in Nevada records short recipe videos without showing her face. Her channel now earns more than her old office job, and the content she made last year continues paying her today. When your knowledge exists in a replicable format, it becomes a machine. Then we micro micro-tools, small apps, browser extensions, templates, scripts. A developer in Denver built a Chrome extension that automatically organizes online research notes. He sells it for $3 a month. He now has over 9,000 active subscribers. That's over $27,000 monthly for a tool he created one summer. A college student in Texas built a simple habit tracking Notion template and earns roughly $1,000 a month from it. None of these creators are famous. They simply solved a problem cleanly enough that the solution sells itself. And finally, there is teaching. Not institutional teaching, not classroom teaching. Teaching in the modern American sense, packaging your experience so others can skip the years you spent figuring things out. A mechanic in Michigan films short tutorials for beginners and sells a simple starter course for $29. It now brings him about $1,400 each month. A freelance designer in New York built a topography mini-course that earns more than her client projects. A former nurse in Arizona teaches basic medical comprehension to future nursing students. Her course has become so popular that it funds her annual vacations. Teaching is leverage because knowledge becomes an asset the moment it's organized. Now step back and look at the pattern. These aren't fantasies. They're not shortcuts. They are systems. Small, durable, replicable systems. And every system you build reduces the weight your job has over your life. Every system you build reduces the fear you carry. Every system you build extends the number of hours your income survives without your presence. That is freedom. Here's the deeper truth no one wants to admit. Passive income is not the pursuit of laziness. It is the pursuit of optionality. You don't build these systems because you want to stop working. You build them so you can stop obeying. You build them so you can negotiate better, walk away faster, choose wisely, and design deliberately. In a nation as volatile and opportunity-driven as America, the ability to say no is a form of wealth. And now we enter the age that changes everything: artificial intelligence. AI is not here to replace you. It is here to amplify you. It takes what required 10 hours and reduces it to 1. It takes what required a team and hands it to an individual. It takes hesitation and replaces it with acceleration. Someone with no design background can create polished digital products. Someone with no coding experience can produce tools. Someone with no videography skill can generate complete content systems. AI doesn't guarantee success. It guarantees leverage. And leverage is what compounds. If you master AI, you collapse the distance between imagination and execution. That distance used to be the barrier between the wealthy and everyone else. Now it is shrinking, and the people who learn to use AI early will build income structures at a pace that looks impossible to the rest of the world. If you're ready to begin, follow the link in the description. On the official Money Animate website, there is a resource waiting for you, a gift built specifically for people who want to design income instead of chase it. It is not something you should skip. And if this video gave you clarity, subscribe to Money Animate, like this video, and share it with someone who is still living on the edge of a single paycheck. Your future will not transform itself. But the moment you start building systems that behave like extensions of you, the moment your money keeps moving even when you stop, the architecture of your entire life changes. And you are capable of that shift. More than you realize.